Welcome back, everybody. Doing something a little new today. It occurred to us, Tom and I, that there are certain faces that we've literally been looking at our entire lives in celebrities, in movies, actors, actresses. I guess we don't distinguish that anymore, but we're old, so it's still in my brain.
Acting people.
Actors, people who act. You see them as little kids, and their faces just get imprinted on your brain, and then you watch them slowly decay and then get built back up different and weird looking with new hairlines, and it's creepy. But these are the celebrities we've been given. These are the people who tell us the stories that we love and make the movies that we love memorable because they're in front of the camera. They are what we see. And in this series, we're just going to pay a little tribute to those actors individually by taking a quick run through their filmography, making fun of them quite a bit, and heaping some praise on them when deserved.
We're going to run the gamut.
And the first one up, who do we got, Tom?
The incomparable Nicolas Cage.
Nic Cage. Nic Cage is a weird specimen, man. He's had a hell of a career. It's been I don't know. He's one of those actors that, like, I guess you could say he does things on his own terms. That's how it looks from a fan's point of view anyway. It seems like he gave up picking movies that would be successful a while ago and just does what he wants now.
Well,
and
yeah, he's
just weird about it, and I like it.
He's had an interesting arc. You know, he came up, cut his teeth, made some movies, got popular, then had this like run of movies where he seemed like unstoppable. He was in some big budget stuff. He was in some critically acclaimed stuff. And, you know, I should have introduced him as Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage.
Leaving Las Vegas.
And then I'd heard that, and that you didn't hear him for a while, or you saw him in movies that you would just scratch your head and like, why is he in that? Why did he make that movie? And I had heard that he'd like came upon some hard times, like he lost a lot of his money, and the guy just had to work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he did some weird shit in his personal life. I mean, you know, everyone knows that he was married to Lisa Marie Presley for a while.
Yeah.
He had some kind of bizarre Elvis fixation and spent all kinds of money on memorabilia and all kinds of shit, man. Yeah, he's a weird one. But hey.
But you know what it did? Like, the guy had to work, and people started to realize, like, man, Nic Cage will be in movies. He's not really all that like super picky about what he's in, and he was accessible, and so people started to write movies with Nic Cage in mind. And then, like, that's kind of like the phase of his career he's in. It's just like there are some bizarre movies that he's in that I don't think another actor would really touch, but they know he'll do it, and they kind of write it for him. And like he's like a genre unto himself now. There's just Nic Cage movies.
You know who that reminds me of? Chris Walken.
Oh yeah.
Christopher Walken kind of did the same exact thing because, I mean, you know, he was in Academy Award nominated shit when he was young. He was a huge star, and then he started doing commercial stuff at some point, and then he started doing a lot of shit.
He does it all.
He got paid well for, you know, and then every once in a while he crops up in something awesome and just drops his like stellar performance here in his old age. It's cool. You know, I mean, good for them. I'm glad it's that, and it's not the reason that Bruce Willis started making a huge volume of not so great stuff because he knew he was sick and was preparing for that, which was a horrible thing to find out.
That's a bummer.
And it's also good to hear that, you know, that it didn't do it because they went the Steven Seagal route and just went insane and weird. But hey, Nic Cage, let's start at the beginning.
Well, before we start,
what?
I'm gonna ask you to forgive me up front for not having seen nearly the volume of Nic Cage movies that I know that you have. I've seen quite a few, but I know that like there's going to be a few that I've not seen. But
I took a little informal poll of some of our friends too, to see what their favorite Nic Cage movie was. So
Oh,
we'll do that at the end.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's very exciting stuff. They're not very diverse in their opinions.
I already know what my favorite one is, but we'll get to that.
Lovely. The first one. This is not the very first movie he was in, but close. So early. It's so early that he was still Nicholas Coppola. And for you don't know, yeah, he's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew. So I mean, he's kind of a little bit of a nepo baby.
He's connected.
He's connected. Yeah, by 82, Coppola was he was the shit. So he could pull some strings. So he was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which I don't think has anything to do with Francis Ford Coppola, but he was Brad's bud. He didn't even have a name. He was
Didn't
Brad's
they put
bud.
a horse's head in the producer's bed to get him into the Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
That's how it worked.
Yeah.
That's how that worked. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. That's some hardcore Hollywood lore. Tarantino's going to make a movie about that. So I mean, that was a little part, but that was the first time he got his big face on screen. Then he did something called Valley Girl in '83. I don't remember ever seeing that. I think I remember seeing it in the video store, but I don't think I ever saw it. And then he did Rumblefish. You ever see Rumblefish?
I've heard of Rumblefish. I know it's a movie. I know nothing about Rumblefish other than it's a Nic Cage movie.
Rumblefish was made from a novel written by S.E. Hinton, who wrote The Outsiders.
Oh, okay.
It was another one of her youths in the Midwest.
Utes?
The Utes in the Midwest, and the delinquents, and the tough kids, and the such, and the knife fighting in the West Side Story. Yeah, it was. She wrote a bunch of books that were in that vein, and this was another one of them. And Francis Ford Coppola made that. He made Rumblefish. It's in black and white. Matt Dillon, a really young Matt Dillon, is the lead. So yeah, he was in both S.E. Hinton movies. He was Dallas and The Outsiders too. So, yeah, I think Mickey Rourke is in this too. I think he's in Rumblefish.
Of course you've seen it. It's a Mickey Rourke movie.
Yeah, I mean it's worth seeing. I mean he's one of Nic Cage is one of the guys.
One of the guys.
One of the guys. He's very young, but he's got lines. You can see
Is
him.
it on the super secret server?
I don't think so. We'll have to figure that out.
All right.
We'll have to figure that out. So he had few more small parts. Like I didn't see any of these. We got Racing with the Moon. He had a small part in the Cotton Club. I saw that once, but I don't really remember it. A movie called Birdie.
Birdie.
In '84. We
were one.
Yeah, we can't be blamed for missing this shit. And I mean, who the hell goes back and watches fucking Birdie? Oh God. After two friends return home from the Vietnam War, one becomes mentally unstable and obsesses with becoming a bird.
What?
And the poster has a guy in like wings, like fucking Da Vinci like wings, like trying to fly.
Is it Nic Cage?
I can't tell. I think so.
We may have to watch this.
I might need to. Matthew Modine is the other dude.
This just became required viewing.
Yeah, we got to find Birdie. Dog. We got to track down
Bird
Birdie.
dog him, Frank.
Holy shit. Then he was in something called The Boy in Blue. He did a lot of movies in the early 80s.
Yeah.
He was just stacking them up. The Boy in Blue is a biography of the famous sculler Ned Hanlon, who led a colorful life as a bootlegger at the turn of the 20th century. Interesting. He seems to have the lead in this.
Doesn't sound bad either.
So a bootlegging rower.
Yeah.
That's
you gotta.
Crewer, whatever the fuck you call him. I don't know. This is the first movie I remember him in. 1986. Peggy Sue Got Married.
Yeah, I never saw that one.
There's another Coppola movie. It's kind of a time travel movie, but not. Like, all right, the main character is Peggy Sue, and she I think she gets hit on the head or she gets shocked by something, and she wakes up, and she had been at her high school reunion and wakes up and she's in high school again. Like, she traveled back into her own body back in high school in the 50s.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and it's very Back to the Future-y in that it goes from the 80s to the 50s. So there's that. Obviously, different woman protagonist. It's a whole different deal. But Nic Cage plays the titular Peggy Sue's boyfriend. And it is one of the weirdest performances you'll ever see in a major motion picture.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He showed up doing a voice that no one asked him to do. Like, the character is the lead singer of like a young rock and roll band. Like, he's a Buddy Holly like wannabe.
Like rockabilly.
Like, just straight old school rock and roll, you know? Early 50s rock and roll. And for some ungodly fucking reason,
He decided to talk like this through the entire movie. Peggy.
I shit you not. You think that sounds like over the top? That is exactly what the fuck he sounds like through this entire movie. And apparently, Coppola and the producers were like, "Bro, what the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, "I want to do the voice." And they're like, "Bro, we're gonna have to fucking fire you if you keep doing the voice." And
But
all
he did it
IMDb
anyway?
says is somehow he talked them into letting him do the voice. I don't know what that means, but Jesus Christ, man, it's just something to behold. And on top of it, Jim Carrey, a very young Jim Carrey, is one of the other dudes in his band. I think they're like an a cappella group almost. They do a lot of harmonies and shit. But he's got a crew cut, like a 50s crew cut, and he's one of the singers in the band. And Nic Cage actually manages to be more ridiculous than Jim Carrey.
Wow.
So
That's
that's
a tall order.
it's something. It's something. It's some kind of movie, man.
Peggy.
All right. Here's the
kidding me,
question.
Peggy?
Should you watch it? Should one watch it?
Yeah. Yeah. Just like I said, there's that nostalgic twinge. It's our parents' generation going back in time to their youth. Like, kind of like Back to the Future, but you in Back to the Future, it's a kid going to his parents' youth. Like I said, in this, it's someone going back to their own high school years. So it's a super relatable fantasy. Like, and I think it holds the older you get, because I mean, her parents are alive again.
Yeah.
Like, she's living at home. Her parents are both alive. Like, there's all these things. There's a little something anyone can relate to in this supposed time travel story. I won't ruin the reveal or whatever you want to call it, but and there's a lot of stuff to deal with her marriage, and it's a midlife crisis movie. Is really what it is. It's a whole, what is it? In High Fidelity is like, you're doing one of those what does it all mean things.
What does it all mean? Oh God.
That is what it is, though. It really is. Like, this all happens when she's like at a point in her life where everything's coming to a head and she's kind of freaking out. You know?
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
we all have that. Oh my, how did I get here? Monologue in our heads.
And that's what this is. And it's a simple what could I have done differently, and how would it's a little bit of It's a Wonderful Life kind of shit going on, but not like a ripoff, or it doesn't really play out that way. And there's no angels. Yeah, it's worth checking out.
All
It's
right.
a little saccharine. But when you're in the mood for something a little saccharine, it's really good. And you get to laugh your ass off at Nic Cage and his first ridiculous accent. There's many, but this is the first, and it was unprompted.
He just did it.
Just did it. And then we have the first movie where people were like, "Oh, maybe this guy is like an artist and like an actor." It was Coen Brothers' early success, Raising Arizona, 1987.
That was my first experience with Nicolas Cage.
Okay, I know you're a big Coen Brothers fan
man.
in general.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I'm a fan of their earlier stuff. There's a bunch of stuff on the back end of their catalog that I've missed. I haven't really because I kind of fell out of like my movie watching, hobby that I had. But that one I saw when I was a kid, and I'll contend that it's like one of the best openings ever. In that you get a ton of story dumped on you. You get your your first real introduction to like this Coen Brothers style of filmmaking.
Which was very stark and distinct then.
Yeah, they'd had a couple movies before that. There was Miller's Crossing before that, and like a really good movie but lesser known was Blood Simple. But they kind of hadn't really found their groove at that moment yet. Like nobody knew, like there wasn't a brand that this was a Coen Brothers movie yet. And I think Raising Arizona was the one that made people like notice that who they were.
Not to be a dick horse, but Miller's Crossing was in 1990.
Oh, when was Raising Arizona?
87.
Oh, I thought Miller's Crossing came first.
No, Blood Simple's the only one that came first. I think Raising
shit.
Arizona was their second movie. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. But no, you're right, though. It holds. Because Miller's Crossing, I think, by then, they had found their visual tone.
yeah.
Like, Raising Arizona definitely has a look. That desert, saturated kind of thing. And I just don't think... They've done... Like, Buster Scruggs kind of has that going
That
on.
movie's great.
But
yeah, Raising Arizona, the whole
great
first
movie.
few minutes is just this exposition dump, like rapid fire. Like he plays his first of all, his name is crazy. He's H.I. McDonough. People call me High. It's just an insane handle to have. And they go through like him. He robs several grocery stores and gets arrested each time. He goes to prison several times. Meets his wife. They get married.
Yeah, she's a corrections officer, right? She's the one who keeps taking his mug shot.
Holly
She's the
Hunter.
cop who keeps
Turn to the right.
Yeah. That's right. She was
Turn to the
fantastic
right.
in that. Another Coen Brothers favorite. They put her in a bunch of stuff. She was great in No Country.
Yeah.
I mean, oh brother, where art thou? She was awesome.
I've spoken
in that.
my piece and counted to 3.
He's bona fide. He's a suitor.
He's a suitor. Anyhow, yeah, they go through like they dump all this, like a bunch of stuff happens, and then it's almost like overwhelming. And then they can't have kids, and then the Arizona Quints are born, and they have the idea that they're gonna kidnap one of the Arizona quintuplets, and then the whole time you got that insane banjo music playing in the background. And that guy doing that crazy singing, and after all that, they
like yodeling, right?
Yeah. After all that,
Yeah.
he says like this was the answer to all our prayers, and then boom, you get the the title plug, Raising Arizona. It is a monumental amount of shit to dump on a viewer before you even show them the title of the movie, but like it works, and the whole thing is anchored by Nicolas Cage's like deadpan narration of literally like years of backstory before you get to the present day in the movie, and it works.
Yeah, he has to carry the whole movie pretty much. Like he's the protagonist thread, and he's colorful, but he's surrounded by more colorful characters, like a whole host of them. Like in John Goodman and William Forsythe are great in that. And then Tex Cobb, too, is the evil biker.
Yeah, like a vision of hell.
He's awesome, dude. It's visually, I mean, it's got a certain whimsy to it. It's not a hardcore crime story. I mean, the Coen brothers have been all over the place with their tone. This is definitely more in the Lebowski arena, I think, tone-wise.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Than their more serious fare. I mean, yeah, because, I mean, they've gone all the way to the other end of the spectrum with No Country, and No Country for Old Men, which is about as serious as it gets.
You know what that movie kicked off to?
What's that?
You can track it through all, like a bunch of Coen brother movies. If John Goodman is in a Coen brother movie, there will be a scene where he is just fucking screaming at the top of his lungs. That's the first one that he does it when they escape from the prison, and they both
and they keep looking the back
his
seat.
head pops out of the mud outside of the prison wall, and he's just
that's right.
He just starts screaming at the top of his lungs.
There's a super cut on YouTube that's fantastic, just of all of his Coen brother screams.
Yeah, man.
It's glorious.
He does it in that. He does it in Barton Fink, which is terrifying. When the last scene of Barton Fink, it's something nightmare fuel. He does it in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? He does it in The Big
right
Lebowski.
In the hallways, yeah, he does. Yeah, it's a shame he wasn't in No Country. It would have been cool if they'd been able to find a spot for him.
Yeah, that would have felt a little forced.
Maybe. I could see him being a cop. But Nic Cage, everybody, Nic Cage. He had a country accent in this that it was like actually kind of believable. So I don't know what the fuck happens to him later when he gets older.
Subtle.
But yeah, it wasn't. I guess he was just mimicking Holly Hunter. Right?
Well,
that's her name.
And also his performance. Like, there's whole scenes in that movie where she's talking rapid fire, and he's making this face where he's kind of like got his chin down and he's looking up at her. His jaw is hanging open, and he's just like it looks like his brain is melting, and I think that kind of informs the way he thinks and speaks in that movie. And like it works though, because it doesn't come across as like having him be like this over the top personality. That's not him. He's more of a doer. Like when he decides to go steal Huggies from the convenience store.
Yeah. Now he's got some really good comedic scenes in this too, with the scene with the fucking stocking on his face.
Oh God.
Fucking, I love that part. That's one of my favorite things he's ever done. It's just so fucking, you can't not laugh at that shit.
It's great.
So after that, he picked up and he was in a really popular and I think award-winning movie, Moonstruck, in 1987.
Is that
with Cher?
That's the one with Cher? Yeah, I've seen parts of that. I haven't seen the whole thing.
That movie has no business being as entertaining as it is. That's one of those movies I put in the category of I never fucking thought I'd like it, and then I watched it for some reason and was like, "Fuck, that was really kind of good." Shit, and then I
nice
like,
when that
watch
happens.
it with my wife. Yeah, I have to validate that shit by watching it with my wife. I mean, like, was that good? And she'll be like, because she's picky when it comes to movies like that too. And she'll be like, no, that was actually good. I'm like, good, okay.
So you know you're not crazy.
I don't have to be weird. Yeah. He plays like this really intense young dude who lost a hand before the movie starts.
Ooh.
He's got like a fake mannequin hand, and him and Cher fall in love. That's part of the main plot. So, like, he was again another really weird offbeat character, but it really fit in the narrative, and they used him sparingly enough that the intensity wasn't overbearing, because he really just like hammed the whole thing up again, but it worked somehow. And I don't know, it's a cool little movie. It's a neat little story. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. It's romantic. It's something good to, it's a chill romantic movie that isn't too stupid. And it's got some like Italian shit. If you're Italian American, it's got some cool stuff. There's like Cher's Italian. They're all Italian. So Northeastern, I think they're in New York, and there's restaurants involved. So, it's cool. It's cool.
Worth a watch.
Yeah, it's a classic now, I think. In 1988, Nic Cage was in Vampire's Kiss.
Oh,
have you ever seen that?
Yeah, is that the one?
It's famous.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah, he's basically a human cartoon in that.
That
don't know.
sounds
I
like
don't
the
really like
first example of like Nic Cage being incomparably Nic Cage.
Yeah.
He's not doing an accent.
That was really it.
He's not doing an accent, but he's doing like him. Like if you do an impression of him, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. It's weird. It's over the top. It's just scenery chewing craziness. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen the thing all the way through. I know some people like it as like just for the sake of it being so fucking weird, and it's, kind of a culty vampire movie, but I don't know, it never really stuck with me, but it got him to a cult status era, like kind of a thing, for the VHS era, which was important in building his fan base, I guess. It's so weird. He makes a lot of movies, but they're all these weird little just projects, nothing really intense. He does Firebirds in 1990, right?
Firebirds.
Which is, yeah, it's like an action movie about helicopters, like super advanced modern helicopters, military helicopters, and it has some shit. I think they're Apaches, and when they were brand new, and it has something to do with cartels in South America, like most action movies did at the time.
Oh yeah, you got it.
That was the only. After the Soviet Union went down, they were the only bad guys around that were easy. So, I don't. He was one of the pilots. Tommy Lee Jones is in it. Like it's a time capsule. He has hair. Tommy Lee Jones has hair. He kind of looks semi-young. It's very strange. But yeah, there's some cool action. It's nothing. It's like what was it, 1990? Yeah, it's like a Top Gun ripoff. It's like Top Gun, but with choppers. So, but then, he does something called Zandali in 91. I don't know what the fuck that is. He did a TV movie in 92. Something called Honeymoon in Vegas.
Honeymoon?
Apparently he was...
I've seen that.
Yeah. Have you? I don't remember that one.
I was a kid. I've seen that movie.
In 92, it was from Jack loses $65,000 in poker in Las Vegas, where he's marrying Betsy. The wedding will have to wait, as the poker winner wants the weekend with Betsy to cancel the debt. Oh, it's Sarah Jessica Parker.
I've seen that movie.
Okay. I have not. Look at that.
Holy God, we've done it.
It finally happened.
Jeez, something I've seen that you haven't. Now, I can't remember anything
Caan.
about it. I just remember that I saw it, and I was a kid, and I was probably too young, and Nicolas Cage was in it.
Apparently, so was Mr. Miyagi for a
Pat
little while
Morita?
anyway. Yeah, he's in one of the photos from it. That's wild. All right, so that seems like it was kind of a mainstream movie. Had a pretty big cast of names. So, and then they made an Amos and Andrew in 93. Do you remember this? All right.
Amos and Andrew.
Yeah, I don't remember this. But he's one of the two. He's either Amos or Andrew.
Oh, okay.
He's Amos. Andrew, Samuel L. Jackson. All right, we might have to look this one up. Pulitzer Prize. Jesus Christ, who writes this shit?
What?
A Pulitzer Prize writer, a Pulitzer Prize winning writer buys a cabin. The neighbors get suspicious when a stranger breaks in. They see a black man and call the police, who start shooting at him. The sheriff tries to cover up involving a white petty crook. Bad idea. That is the fucking synopsis on IMDb for this movie.
Well, you know what?
Motherfuck.
We're going to have to watch it and form our own opinion.
So that's two. That's two goddamn movies.
Birdie.
Amos and Andrew. Jesus Christ, this is not good. We shouldn't have done this.
Are you kidding me? This is great. I want to see
So-
Nic Cage try to fly.
Oh, shit. You remember this fucking movie, Guarding Tess? You remember Guarding Tess?
Tess. Yeah, I've seen it. Again, this is another. There's just this fog of stuff I saw in the 90s when I was too
dude.
young to really grasp what was happening. And it's just living in my hindbrain somewhere.
Like, when I think of 90s movies, this is what I think of. Like, aggressively 90s movies, mass appeal 90s movies, fucking Guarding Tess. This is like a softball movie where the titular Tess is a former first lady whose president husband has passed away, and Nic Cage is the Secret Service agent tasked with guarding her. and she's like a little pill. It's it's Shirley MacLaine.
Okay.
So creeping into old age. She's a wonderful actress, but she's very surly and mean, and it's one of those like she grows on you kind of movies by the end, and I think he has to save her life from something. It's one of those real just like, there's some danger, but no one's really going to get hurt except maybe the bad guys, and you won't see it. It's very palatable. Very palatable movie.
Palatable.
Light. And then, God, yeah, this same year, It Could Happen to You came out. Wow, it
could happen to you.
It was a good year. It's a good year for Nic Cage.
What was that? I remember.
That was when he did that. It was a romantic flick with Bridget Fonda. I think the whole thing has to do with he's a cop. Nic Cage plays a young cop, and he's in love with this waitress, Bridget Fonda, and he promises to give her, I think, half of his winnings if this lottery ticket he has was a winner.
Yeah.
And then he wins, because he can't tip her or something, and then he wins, and then he wants to live up to the promise, but like she thinks it's weird, so they get to know each other and romance. That was an early Rosie Perez appearance too. That was one of the first movies that she was in that got her famous for a while. I think she's really funny. Stuff she did later, like when she was in
White Man Can't Jump. Right?
That was not what I was thinking of. Yeah, she was.
That was her, right?
That's not. That was her. That's not what I was thinking of. Pineapple Express.
Oh yeah, she was great in that.
And she's done some stuff more recently where she's been really good and underrated, I think. But I kind of couldn't stand her back then. But yeah, cool. It Could Happen to You. That was it was a romantic, not a comedy. It was just a straight up romance movie. So
yeah, call it a rom-com.
He gave that a try. Trapped in Paradise. That was a cool movie. It was just it's kind of a weird comedy with Dana Carvey about a heist on Christmas Eve.
Dana Carvey and Nic Cage?
Yeah, it's Dana Carvey, Nic Cage, and John Lovitz are the trio.
John Lovitz.
Yeah, the trio of robbers.
It stinks.
It's not a great movie, of course, because you've never heard of it. But it's pretty funny. There's moments. Nic Cage is actually just straight up being comedic with those other two. So, and I mean, you're not gonna out rubber face Dana Carvey.
No, absolutely not.
So if I remember it right, like they are all fighting for screen time. It's not, no one dominates. I don't think it's particularly that good of a storyline is the problem. But I don't know if you ever see that on, and it's like it's Christmas Eve, like I said, so it's got that holiday bend. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've seen all the movies I consider Christmas movies 10 million fucking times, and I'm getting kind of sick of them every year.
That's
so
it's
maybe
gonna be your new
something
go-to.
new. Something new for the rotation. Trapped in Paradise. All right. So that's cool. Let's get into the mid-90s. He did Kiss of Death in 95.
Kiss of Death.
That was cool. That was like a taut kind of thriller. Pretty mainstream. It was with David Caruso.
Oh, of CSI Miami fame?
Yeah, and First Blood fame.
Oh, that's right. He was in that.
It's a good cast. It's a good cast of people who were just about to break out big. It's got Helen Hunt in it. Stanley Tucci's in it. Samuel Jackson again. Ving Rhames. Dr. Chilton from Silence of the Lambs.
What's this called? Kiss of Death?
It's called, Kiss of Death. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I haven't seen it many times, but I've seen it because I just always thought of it as the Nic Cage goatee movie.
The goatee movie?
Yeah, and because he has a stark goatee. And it was one of those movies Caruso made when he was trying to be a movie star when he left NYPD Blue. And people were just like, no, we don't like you.
No. Your hair's too red.
No. You are too gingery. We will not.
Well,
We
he
will
hadn't
not.
mastered the art of dramatically taking off and putting on his sunglasses. Right.
I do feel a little bad for him because he should have stayed on TV, and he gave up a good thing with NYPD Blue, and I guess he just got another chance to do it on a show that I cannot stand to watch.
Oh,
So
it's awful, but
whatever. Yeah.
it's really it's like
Good
a
for
drinking
him.
game. It's just whenever he dramatically was like, "No, I'll call you a murderer."
There's been a lot of parodies of it, but one of my favorites is in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh God, she like
Yeah,
blind
they got
justice or something.
Billy. Yeah, but before that, they have Billy Baldwin, basically
Yeah.
doing a David Caruso, old ass Billy Baldwin already in that. That's one of my favorite comedies. I love that.
That
fucking
movie's
movie.
really good.
All right, so yeah, I mean, Kiss of Death. I should rewatch that. I want to see what went wrong with this one, because with the plot and the fucking cast, it should have been cool.
That's a hell of a cast.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, dude. That's wild. Who the fuck directed this? Hold on here, guys. I don't know. Barbet Schroeder. I don't know Barbet Schroeder.
What?
I don't know, man. Some Frenchness. All right, Kiss of Death. Well, regardless, that was 1995.
All right.
But that
when,
same year,
when do we kick off the Nic Cage that I grew up with, like the 90s conquering
Almost.
Nic Cage? I'm
we're
ready.
almost there. He had to win his Oscar first.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that same year of Kiss of Death, we got Leaving Las Vegas, which is one of those movies you like watch maybe once or twice in your entire fucking life because it's depressing as shit.
I wasn't allowed to watch it when I was a kid.
No, I mean you shouldn't have
Right.
been. It's pretty. I mean, it's not. There's definitely visually more upsetting movies, but the subject matter is intense and it's really fucking depressing, and it ends on a downer. But it's a really poetic film with. I mean, I don't know, man. Nic Cage did a great job in this, and apparently he did a little. He did a rough thing to do. He did some binge drinking in preparation for it because his character is a intense alcoholic, like really trying to kill himself. He's on a mission to drink himself to death. When we meet him, the writer, it's based on a novel by this guy named O'Brien, and he actually killed himself 2 weeks into the production of the movie.
Oh, God.
So, yeah. So there's all kinds of sadness wrapped in it. And Elizabeth Shue plays a Las Vegas hooker. So you can imagine how cheery that story is. And there's a gang rape and
Oh, God.
fucking... Yeah, it's a really downer flick, man, and it ends on a downer. And one of the coolest things about it is throughout the movie, there's these weird little almost soliloquies. There are these vignettes of Elizabeth Shue's character talking to someone who's off screen, and we don't know who it is. It kind of hints that it might be a friend. It could be a therapist. We're not sure, but she's kind of recounting just unspecific events as the story goes on, right? And those were actually makeup tests that Elizabeth Shue filmed in pre-production, and the director thought she did such a great job that he cut them into the movie.
Huh.
And
That's pretty cool.
she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for that. I don't think she won, but she was nominated. I think she should have won because she did a great fucking job in this movie. I just rewatched it for the second time ever, knowing we were going to be talking about Nic Cage tonight, and it is a really good movie. It's incredibly well paced. Visually, it's pretty stunning, and there's just some really heartbreaking moments throughout, and they never. I don't know. It's one of those movies that you don't like it because they never alleviate the tension with humor.
Huh.
Like they come real close because Nic Cage does funny shit, but he's such a drunk that it's immediately sad. Even when there's little little bright spots, things that make Elizabeth Shue's character laugh, you kind of laugh, but her smile always wanes, like in a couple moments, and yours does too, because he really does do that great of a job playing a drunk.
And
that's not
show.
easy. Yeah, like you can't, like, you know, people who don't understand acting or who do and just don't want to think about it. Like you're not drunk when you're playing a drunk, you know, and you think that's easy. It's not that.
It's got to
fucking
be
easy.
hard.
Yeah, like you said, he recorded himself drunk so that he can mimic himself.
Wow.
And how he acts when he's drunk and how he talks when he's drunk. So I mean, cool, you know, like that's what you got to do to be able to play that, man. And like I believe it too. Like if you've been around enough drunk people when you're sober, it's a really annoying. I try never to do this, but it's fucking annoying. And there's little things in the way he moves and just the way he falls, you know, and it really rings true. And it's not the stereotypical Hollywood drunk shit. So, you know, hey, he deserved it. I think Elizabeth Shue deserved it. I don't know who she lost to that
Academy
year,
Award winner Nicolas Cage.
But that fucking did it. I guess the offer started pouring in, and he was like, you know, I'm sure someone wise told him to make hay while the sun is shining, and he did.
What's next?
1996, The Rock.
The Rock.
Huge, big budget Michael Bay movie. Fucking army dudes.
Fucking huge.
Fucking huge. Ed Harris, a bunch of fucking defected army dudes. Everyone's in this movie. They take Alcatraz Island hostage. They got missiles full of VX gas, which gave you fucking nightmares after you saw this movie. Thinking about that VX gas was a real thing. Because it was and is and kind of pretty much does what it does in this movie, which is terrifying. And Nic Cage is the expert in VX gas. What is he, a botanist or a biologist or
some kind of
chemist?
scientist.
Chemist. That's what he is. He talks about being
He's a science guy.
Chemist. Science guy. He's a fucking science nerd.
We need a guy. We need a science
who's in the
guy.
FBI. He's the FBI science nerd who has to go do some FBI gun shit so he can do science nerd shit in Alcatraz and save everybody. But the big thing about this movie was, on top of all that, Sean Connery, old man ass fucking Sean Connery with his beard and his shit. He plays a British spy. I know, right? Wild. Who has been incarcerated illegally in America for what, 30 years or some shit since the Cold War.
You know what's funny about
middle
that
of the
too?
Cold War.
The people, there are people. There's like
the fan theory.
Yeah, there's like a camp of people.
I like it actually.
That think that this functions as an actual sequel or successor to some of the earlier James Bond films, because he's like this. Yeah, he's this British spy, and I don't know if they ever give you his name.
They call him, you know, I think it's John Mason.
Yeah.
But you don't know if that's his real name.
Yeah, he very well could be James Bond.
Look, if you want it to be in your head canon, it kind of fits, and I kind of like it.
Man.
There's also this other fan theory about James Bond that leans into it, is that James Bond itself is a code name,
right, given
to different agents, and that explains the changing of the guard and the actor switches. And that's the idea that Sean Connery's James Bond fucked up and got imprisoned in America, and then Roger Moore took over the name James Bond, which is really, I mean, it's a leap of logic, but it's not
it's fun
for the James Bond series. It's really not that much of a leap. So I like thinking about it. And yeah, the last time I watched The Rock, I had that in mind, and it was fun. It was fun. I mean, fuck it. It was fun. Just like this movie is just fun. It's the definition of a popcorn action movie that, I mean, there's tons of explosions. There's ridiculous gunfights. Michael Biehn is in it.
Slow motion. Michael Biehn, your boy.
He's a Navy SEAL again. He doesn't last too long, unfortunately, but he's in it. all kinds of great. William Forsythe again. Like, just the cast is exploding with great actors. The good guys and the bad guys. That's the great thing, too. It has good actors playing the bad guys, which is rare. You got Tony Todd.
Wait, is Ed Harris a bad guy?
Technically, yeah. He's the antagonist.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
He's great.
But
Ed
that's
Harris
cool,
is
too,
great.
because he's kind of, for the exposition you get on him, on his character, he's complicated for a bad guy in an action movie, which is nice, you know? There's a lot. This is one of Michael Bay's. Let me just double check that. That is Michael Bay,
I
right?
mean, it has to be.
It seems like it. Fuck. Who the fuck else could? Yeah, it's Michael Bay.
It's got to be.
I know a lot there. He's made a lot of movies that a lot of people have seen that have made a lot of money. I think this is the best one he ever did.
This was my
favorite.
Man.
It's my favorite. This is the kind of movie that fits his style perfectly. Like when you need a Hummer chase through the streets of San Francisco, you get fucking Michael Bay, you know? And that's just like a little blip in the movie. Like that's just a side thing, you know?
And you got a couple actors, like one who's like in Sean Connery, who's experiencing like a kind of like a comeback at this point, and Nic Cage, who's at the height of his popularity. And you get that ridiculous exchange when Sean Connery's yelling at Nic Cage. He's like, winners don't complain that they did their best. Winners don't complain they did it, and winners go home and fuck the prom queen. And then you get Nic Cage going, Maria was the prom queen.
It's Carla.
It's Carla,
okay.
whatever it was.
Carla
was the prom queen. And
Carla was the prom queen.
And it's Nicolas Cage. It's not him playing a character. It's him doing himself in the middle of a gigantic budget action film. And it's like, I think in that moment, it's like that's the Nic Cage that becomes like legend. You know, in like,
well, he was not fucking around
Hollywood
with this
canon.
chance that he got. You know what I mean? Like he knew this was a huge, big budget. Like honestly, though, if you watch it, he's considering everything he did before that. He's pretty repressed. Like he plays this as a pretty straight action role with little blips of humor. Like he's not that over the top. Like he really does good at capturing that fish out of water in like. Dude in an overwhelming situation.
I don't think he's
who's
over
still
the
just
top.
doing his best. You know, yeah. Like I'm saying, he did a great job at restraining himself because he knew he couldn't fuck around and do his weird shit.
Yeah,
because this was.
But what he does,
this was.
What he does,
he's good.
Is he's being himself.
Yeah,
like you get prototypical Nic Cage in that movie. It's not Nic Cage playing a character, Nic Cage diving into the method and being this this insane character that took him a while to get into. Like it's like the birth of like the public persona that is Nic Cage is that movie.
And Stanley Goodspeed is just a likable dude.
Yeah,
you know he's funny. He's the one who's relatable in this movie, full of unrelatable characters. He's the relatable one who's never done any of this shit before. You know, he's that guy. And he does it great. He does a great job. And it was a huge success.
Well, it was huge.
And literally the next year, he followed it up with one of the most ridiculous performances of his career in Con Air.
Oh, Con Air.
We were already at Con Air.
Wait a minute. When does Con Air came before Face Off?
They came out the same year.
Oh, my
1997 birthed both films. Like, he was not fucking around,
man.
He
was
just backing him up. Con Air.
Dude, I loved Con Air.
It's a movie that you think Michael Bay made, but he did not.
Who made it?
It's Simon West.
Who
is the guy? Is the director? I don't really. He did like the Lara Croft movie, the first one with Angelina Jolie.
Oh yeah, that tracks.
There was a Travolta movie called The General's Daughter.
I saw that.
Yeah, man, I always see that when I'm on the road for some reason. I feel like that, like think of that and I think of motel rooms. But yeah, I mean, you know, middling director, but if you watch that, man, I really think he was trying to be a Michael Bay.
He's trying to
was
do
going for
yeah.
it.
He's trying to do The Rock.
The fucking one-liners in that, just the dialogue in that movie.
Well, number one, like run down the
I know.
cast. Who's in that movie?
All right, it's a long one,
Dude, well, let me. I don't have it in front of me. I'm gonna rattle off what I got from memory. You have Nic Cage, larger than life at this point. You have Ving Rhames, right?
That's right. Yeah, he's one of the prisoners.
John Malkovich,
Head prisoner.
Cyrus the Virus,
Jesus Christ. Grissom. Last name Grissom.
Cyrus Grissom.
Perfect.
John Cusack is in that movie.
Yeah.
Cole Meany, right?
Cole Meany.
Dave
Yeah.
Chappelle's in it, I think.
Cole Meany's the dude from Star Trek, right?
Yeah, Cole Meany.
Next Gen.
Yeah.
O'Brien.
Yep, that's him. Dave,
Yeah, Dave Chappelle is that dude Pinball who starts the whole thing.
right? And then Steve Buscemi's in it.
Yep. Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. Who else? God, that movie's stacked.
Yeah, and then a bunch of character actors too, whose faces you know from stuff. It's got kind of a cult following at this point. One of our friends' wives, Dan's wife, Crystal, she's super into this.
Oh, really?
Movie. Yeah, like she's intense
That's
about
pretty
it.
awesome.
I think I don't know, but I think people go to screenings of it like and do some Rocky Horror kind of shit these days. I'd buy it because this movie is so just I don't even know what this movie must look like to a young person watching it today. But it's so stereotypical of the over the top just popcorn action movie of the mid 90s. And just the choices, man. His accent is so bad and just comes and goes. His weird mullet. And I think I realized rewatching it recently that it's not actually a mullet. It's just his hairline is so bad at this point that's what his hair looked like when it got long. And why did they do that? It's all of it is so weird. It's so weird. And they even like bite off Hannibal Lecter a little bit
When they
with
bring
the
Steve Buscemi on.
Yeah, like, and it's so big. Like everything is so grandiose. Like even when the buses pull up with the prisoners to the plane, you know, there's two motorcycle cops riding in tandem in front of the fucking prisoner transport vehicles. Like why? Like it's this whole well-organized cavalcade of vehicles just rolling down the tarmac in perfect like the fucking like
Jeez.
And that's just the whole movie is like that. They land the plane on the Strip in Vegas,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Again, Vegas. What the fuck?
Nick Cage
man?
in Vegas.
What is it with Nick Cage in
Inseparable.
Vegas? Inseparable.
But dude, it has one of the best stupid one-liners I've ever seen in a movie. Like I laugh every time I see it. It's from John Malkovich, who is Cyrus the Virus, right? And there's a guy on the plane. He's like a Hispanic guy, like a drug lord or whatever. And this is after they've taken.
It's Danny Trejo.
No, it's not Danny Trejo.
You sure?
No, it's Johnny 26 or whatever is Danny Trejo's character. It's not him.
Yeah.
It's one of the other Hispanic guys on the plane who's like a drug lord, and they're at some airfield, and they find out like something goes wrong, and John Malkovich decides he's going to kill this guy, and they douse him with like gasoline, and his name is Cyrus in the movie. And he's the guy's calling him Cy. He's begging him, "Don't kill me, Cy, please don't kill me, Cy." And John Malkovich is smoking a cigarette at the time, and this guy has already been doused in fuel, and he's going Cy. And after he says Cy one last time, John Malkovich goes Anara.
No,
Yeah,
really?
he goes Anara and flicks the cigarette
really?
butt
That's
on.
what he says?
Yeah, Sai Anara, and he flicks.
You got to be fucking
flicks
kidding
the cigarette. The guy goes up in flames and burns to death, and Cyrus the Virus gets to walk like in pure Michael Bay fashion. Gets to like walk casually away from like an explosion.
See, this is
It's
and this
complete
movie is
90s cheese.
why I thought of John Malkovich as just an absurd villain off the bat because I saw this and I saw In the Line of Fire
Oh, I like that movie.
with Clint Eastwood. And yeah, I just stereotyped Malkovich as a villain in my head, even though he didn't do it all the time. But this was one of his. Ooh, man, he leaned into it,
Give
baby.
me my
Leaned
fucking
into it.
money.
Getting arounders, man. I love that movie. Oh shit. So huge, still a blockbuster. I think this did really good in the theater. It was definitely a popcorn movie. It was garbage, but it was great.
Horrible.
But that same year, he teamed up with the recently career resurrected John Travolta, thanks to Pulp Fiction, to make everybody's favorite Face Off.
Wait, so Face Off, Con Air.
Yeah, it went The Rock. It went Leaving Las Vegas, The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off,
Man.
all within from 95 to 97.
What a stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he has he keeps going. Like, Face Off, I don't know if we have to get into it. Everyone fucking knows what Face Off is. Him, John Travolta, switch faces, switch lives. It's fucking crazy.
It's
John
insane.
Woo, when he was at the peak of his American fame as a director. Again, just another incredibly over-the-top 90s action movie
fucking
with an
bonkers.
absurd premise. It is. It's a wild ride, though, man. If you buy into it, again, it's a lot of fun. Is it even close to being sort of realistic? No. It's a comic book. But what the fuck? Comic books are fun.
Yeah.
It's a violent comic book. It's really fucking violent. And it's just full of crazy over-the-top style. Like, Nic Cage it's really fun to watch him. Castor Troy, he starts off playing Castor Troy, right? Who's this just, like I say, a comic book arch villain, just a criminal for hire because he loves being a criminal. And he carries gold-plated 1911s, two of them, in the little custom holster in the small of his back, and does all kinds of drugs all the time, and fucking has this weird brother, and their names are Castor and Pollock. Like, are you fucking Pollocks? I'm like, really?
Like
it's
the
gross.
twins from Gemini.
Just like them. And, hey, that's it, man. That's the tone. And John Travolta starts off playing the FBI agent who's so over the top, like, consumed with grief and vengeance over his dead son, who Castor killed by mistake when he was trying to kill him. And that's all just the setup. And then they switched places.
And faces.
Faces and places, baby. Nic Cage has to play basically
John Travolta.
I don't know what you call it, an impression of John Travolta playing this FBI guy. And while also pretending to be Castor Troy when he's with all the other bad guys and shit, and in prison and breaking out of prison. But there's all kinds of cool shit, like the prison. It's on a it's an oil derrick, right?
Yeah, it's something crazy.
In the middle of the ocean.
I have it. I
it's
saw
an
it
oil
once
derrick.
a long time ago.
Oh, I've seen this so many times. It's an oil derrick in the middle of the ocean, and all the prisoners wear magnetic boots.
That's
these big
right.
metal boots. Yeah, and they can turn them on and make them magnetic and stick to the floor whenever they need to lock them down. Like, that's the big security feature. And disable it, he ends up escaping, finds out he's on a fucking barge. He just jumps off and somehow doesn't die and drown. Yay. It's, again, action movie, way over the top. It's John Woo. There's all kinds of gunfights, and it's not huge on story after that, man. But, man, was it popular, huh?
That was huge.
Shit. Everyone loved this movie. Everybody. Like, it had all these actors at the top of their popularity. Like I said, John Woo was super popular in this country at the time. And, yeah, it just had a ton of marketing juice behind it. I just remember it being everywhere.
Yeah, you couldn't escape
everywhere. No. And John Travolta was so big at this time, he could, like, diversify what he did. Like, he was making shit like Phenomenon for families.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff.
I saw that.
And then he was like, then he was making these big budget movies over here too. Like, he kept going back and forth until it all petered out somewhere around Battlefield Earth.
Ooh.
Thank God that didn't take Barry Pepper down with it.
Barry Pepper.
But yeah, but Face Off, man, fucking epic movie. I mean, it's
The stuff of
dated,
legends.
dated as hell. But I hope it's at least still fun. I haven't seen it
That
in a long
movie will
time.
never not be fun.
Yeah, I guess not. It's just, yeah, the boat chase at the end is a bit much, but whatever. I like it. City of Angels. Do you ever see that?
Oh, I haven't, but like I know about it because it gave rise to that fucking song, that Goo Goo Dolls song.
That's
right.
right. That's right.
What was it called?
Oh,
Iris?
Fuck yeah, because it had little clips from the movie
Yep.
in the music video.
Yep.
That's right.
That movie was like, huge, and like it had a huge twist. It had the plot. It was like all anyone could talk about when they saw it. It had that song to go with it. Like you had said with Face Off, it had a ton of marketing juice, and like that movie was everywhere. Did you see that movie where Nic Cage is an angel and then like he comes back to Earth and yeah, it was.
And Meg Ryan, it was another romance in the '90s with Meg Ryan. Like, how could you miss with that?
She was
They
huge.
just basically they teamed Meg Ryan up with like every 30-something white guy lead actor they could find, and just let's see if it works. Kevin Kline, Tom Hanks, Nic Cage, whatever you got, we'll try it. It usually worked out pretty good, and I don't know. I remember seeing this one time. I don't remember feeling any way about it. Do you? Like,
I never saw it.
You never saw it?
I just
All
like
right.
the thing that sticks out the most about that movie is that Goo Goo Doll song. That's it, man.
Yeah, and the fact that like it had the same subtitle as the second Crow movie.
Yeah, that was
Like it was just,
that stung.
Yeah, you'd see it a lot come up at the same time in search results in the early internet. The Crow, City of Angels, is a fucking terrible movie. But yeah, this did really well. Again,
It was big. It was a big movie.
he took a little bit of a step back with Snake Eyes in 1998, the other half of 98.
Dude, I saw Snake
was
Eyes.
Yeah, it should have worked. It was a Brian De Palma movie.
I hated it.
Yeah, it's not very good. It's not very good. I didn't like it when it came out. I didn't even know who the fuck Brian De Palma was when it came out. Like, I was a kid. But I remember not liking it, and then I gave it a rewatch when I was going through De Palma's catalog, and it was just a miss. I give De Palma credit, though, man. Like, throughout his career, he's dipped his toe into all different kinds of genres and tried his hand at all different kinds of movies, and unfortunately, I just don't think this one was a good fit for his style. He tried to make it like a big, slick kind of movie, and it just, I don't know. There's something wrong with it, man. I don't know. You didn't like it?
No, I hated it. Like, and again,
Okay.
like, what year did that come out? 98.
98.
Okay, yeah. So I was 15 at the time, and like that movie's not for me. But I remember seeing it and thinking like, I have no clue what's happening. And it was like it was about like a fight, like a boxing match, right?
Yeah, again, I think it took place in Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah, the old Nic Cage
think
Vegas
so.
connection.
And he like works for the casino where the fight happened, and there's some controversy. I think something bad happens during the bout.
Yeah, I think it's like
and
the guy
he's like an
throws
investigator.
He throws the fight.
Yeah, and I think Nic Cage is the head of security at this place, and he kind of gets into some shit as he's investigating what happened.
It was a lot
yeah.
to follow. Like, I mean, I think it should have been cool, but it just wasn't. It was tough to follow everything. They put a ton of stuff on screen for you to try to parse out and figure out, but it was too much to try to sort through.
All right, so after 2 years of doing 2 movies a year, and all of them being fairly big budget,
Huge.
mainstream, not, pretty digestible fare, he decides to have like a goth emo year in 1999, and the first movie he made that year is one of my absolute favorite movies, period. At 8mm.
Oh yeah, 8mm.
This was one of those movies. It was a diamond in the rough. Like, you didn't hear about it much when it came out in theaters. It wasn't marketed very well, I don't think.
Wow.
Or
I mean,
or much anyway.
dude, it's literally about
dark.
porno.
It's about snuff porn too.
Like you can't market snuff porn. How do you market snuff porn?
Lenny hadn't seen this before, and we watched it like maybe a month ago. And I love watching things she's never seen before with her, because I kind of try to watch it with new eyes, like I haven't seen it before too. I try anyway. And whew, man, this movie,
does it hold up?
Not only does it hold up, but it's another one of those movies that's become a time capsule too, because for a lot of reasons. I mean, it's about porn, right? And porn has changed an awful lot since 1999.
Yeah.
Like, they barely even fucking mention the internet in this movie. Like, there's a passing reference to stuff being on the internet now, but that's it. And in 99, like, most people didn't have a modem that was capable of dealing with video, even if there was any video to deal with. Like, streaming wasn't a thing.
Right.
You know, if you got video online, you usually had to download a codec, like a player, and then you would have to download the file and play it. Like, you couldn't stream yet.
Yeah.
So this movie is all about physical media. So that means there's all these grimy
Get a grody
scenes.
copy of it.
Yeah, there's all these grimy scenes where, like, Joaquin Phoenix is in this, and he's really young.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he was in that.
Oh, dude, what a great fucking movie. Hold on, let's first do that.
Ah, shit.
Let's run down this cast.
This was a monster cast.
Yeah, Joel Schumacher, first of all, directed this. Now,
Oh, like of Batman and Robin fame?
Yeah, nipples on the bat suit, Joel Schumacher.
Oh, boy.
So I mean, and I don't know what happened to the man. I don't know what kind of hallucinogens he got into, but this flick was his dark side, if there is a dark side. But the cast: Nic Cage, Joaquin Phoenix, like I said, James Gandolfini.
Ugh.
Right?
The casting guy.
Peter Stormare.
Dino Velvet.
Dino Velvet.
Dino Velvet.
That's right. The movie that gave us Dino Velvet. Again, Anthony Held, fucking Dr. Chilton from Silence of the Lambs.
He's in that?
He's in that. He's the smarmy lawyer fucker.
Oh, that's right.
And I mean, just to round it off, there's Catherine Keener is Wells' wife. It's Nic Cage's wife, Tom Wells. And Max California, that was Joaquin Phoenix's character.
Max California.
Yeah, he's a dude that he meets, that Tom Wells meets in L.A., who works at a
like
porn
plugged
store.
into the porn industry.
Yeah, he's like came out to L.A. with a band that was kind of like sort of into like the underground BDSM scene a little bit, and band broke up, and he's just been working at this fucking porn place, and like we find out that there's more to him than we think, because he's reading fucking Truman Capote. Whatever. I love this movie.
It's great. Yo, who plays the monster?
Oh, the guy from Devil's Advocate. Shit, where is it? He's not in the... Norman Reedus too, by the way.
Oh, he's in prison, right?
Yeah, he's the missing girl's ex-boyfriend.
Hey, how about you passing me one of those smokes?
That's right. He puts it out on the fucking floor that he's mopping like a badass. His name was Machine in this, right?
Yeah,
The
Machine.
dude you're talking about? Okay, that actor's name is Chris Bauer.
Okay. That guy's in fucking everything.
He was on The Wire. Like, most people know him from The Wire.
True Blood.
He had True Blood. He was in The Deuce, that HBO series with Franco.
The Devil's Advocate.
It was pretty good. Yeah, that's the first thing I remember seeing him in. He's the child molester in the very beginning.
You jerk off
in the
for
courtroom
the
scene.
judge.
You jerk off for the judge. You're dirty. I love that stupid movie too. Oh God, he's like definitely him with those glasses, those crooked glasses, diddling himself under the table. Like when I think of a diddler, like a child diddler, I think of that dude.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a Sunny thing. I didn't come up with it. It's an Always Sunny thing, but now it's in me.
Of course it is.
It's in me now. But yeah, he's a great villain. Like everything about that movie is great. And Nic Cage is essentially, I guess, he's playing the straight man, but he's playing a private detective.
Yes.
He's a modern day Philip Marlowe, and it's a really subdued, as the subject matter dictates, it's a really subdued performance that gets to levels of like horrified and almost kind of insane a few times.
He
doesn't get ridiculous.
Yeah, as he discovers what it is he's actually, like hunting down. Yeah, he becomes unhinged.
So if you haven't seen it, the basic plot is, like I said, Nic Cage plays Tom Wells. He's a private investigator in Pennsylvania, I believe is where he lives. And he's kind of like a higher end PI, right? He's not the, taking pictures of a cheating spouse unless they're a millionaire's cheating spouse. He's not super well off, but, he's got a family. He's got a nice house and shit. He gets called in by this really rich family that's pretty local and drives out to their giant mansion in the country. It's an impressive place where they film this thing. And it's a typical PI setup. It's like a Raymond Chandler novel already, getting called to the mansion in the country to get your assignment from the rich family. And he finds out that it's this rich lady whose husband recently passed away. They popped open his safe after he died, and they found some boring shit, and they found one titular 8mm film reel. And when they watched it, it appeared to be a snuff film, which is a pornographic film in which someone is actually murdered. It's like a urban legend, supposedly, and the movie gets into that too. But Tom Wells is hired to find out if the film is real and what happened to the girl who appears to be murdered in the movie. And boom, go plot. And it's a really good mystery film and investigative process. It makes sense. The investigation makes sense. The clues make sense. The chain of evidence makes sense, which makes it satisfying to me. And like I said, he's a great, subdued, methodical PI who just gets into something that's just way over his head and a really dark world. It freaked you out, man, when you saw this. It freaked you out to think that this was an undercurrent somewhere, and it was at the time.
Yeah,
to a degree.
To think that could have been real. That there were really films like that out there, and there were people that were into that shit.
And there still are. I mean, there's a lot of, the internet didn't make it go away. If anything, it made it worse. There's all kinds of human trafficking, and there's all these websites are under allegations now. It's wild. But James Gandolfini, like you said, is the producer.
Yeah, what a slime ball.
He's fucking early. He's still fairly young. This is 99. It was right when The Sopranos was heating up. I mean, he probably made it before The Sopranos, hit. So, and he acts the shit out of. He's such a fucking loathsome scumbag.
And spoiler alert: when Nic Cage has him, like tied, I think he has him like tied up.
Yeah, to a wall, to a stud in a broken up wall.
And he's like ready to kill him because of what he found out that he's done. And he's like, "What are you gonna do? Shoot me? Like they're gonna find out. They'll know it's your gun. Blah blah blah." And then he literally like beats him to death with the handle of the gun so that it can't be traced to like a gunshot. Oh God! And he comes out his hand shaking.
Remember Gandolfini starts licking the barrel of the gun?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, come on, I want you to shoot me.
Do it, you pussy. Do it. Put me out of my fucking misery." It's so fucking good,
He pistol
dude.
whips him to death.
Yeah,
Ugh.
and then sets the whole fucking place on fire. Cleansing. It's a cleanse. And like, Peter Stormare, like this is why I call him Dino Velvet in my head. 'Cause
Dino
the first thing I ever saw him
Velvet.
in. He has very, very little screen time, and he uses every goddamn millisecond of it. And just when you get to play a bad guy like that, that's what you do. You just roll around in it, and he does, and it's really fucking memorable, man. And there's like 3 bad guys. 4 if you count the fucking shitbag lawyer.
Yeah, there's Dino Velvet. There's the casting guy.
Machine.
The Machine.
Yeah, the machine and the lawyer. So it's fucking wild, man. It's just, and the ending is nuts. Just how the whole mystery unfolds too it's a great movie. And then the same year, he he was in a movie that is not very much fun to watch, and equally as dark. It was Bringing Out the Dead. Also in 1999.
I saw that. He's an ambulance driver.
Yeah, this was a Scorsese movie. This was more, so he got to work with De Palma and Scorsese, like back to fucking back, and Schumacher in the middle.
And Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. That's a hell of a roster already.
The Coen brothers. Francis Ford Coppola.
Coen brothers. Coppola several times, yeah.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
when you put it that way, yeah, the directors alone are nuts.
So Bringing Out the Dead is super depressing. He's an EMT in New York City, working the night shift, and he's haunted, literally haunted by the ghosts of people he failed to save, and he's an insomniac and basically has PTSD. Essentially, is what's going on, and it's just very unsettling. All of it. John Goodman's in it. He's fucking amazing.
Tom Sizemore.
Sizemore is a fucking animal in this. He's fantastic. Another movie with Nic Cage and Ving Rhames.
Yeah, Ving Rhames is great. I love that one scene.
Yeah, he's that preacher.
Yeah.
He's like almost a preacher. He's the driver.
Well, they're fucking with
Yeah.
those people. He's like praying over the
So
the
fucking
patients.
funny.
And he knows that when Nic Cage gives them like the what is it, like adrenaline or epinephrine or something,
Yeah, I think it's an epi.
they're gonna come back to
injection, I
life,
think.
and he times it perfectly so that he thinks he's
Yep.
like calling upon
Makes
God.
him it makes it look like you put hands on him.
Yeah, what a great
Yeah.
scene.
Fucking awesome, dude. Ada Turturro is in this too. She's Janice from The Sopranos.
Okay.
For Sopranos fans. Just what a it's a I like it. Patricia Arquette, that's who I forgot to mention. I'm sorry. She's Mary Burke. She's the female lead in this, and she's the daughter of one of the people he sort of fails to save. Her dad lingers in a coma through like the whole movie, and he keeps visiting her at the hospital. It's like, yeah, I mean, it just all has to deal with death and hospitals and people having the worst days of their lives, and then all the horrible shit you see Nic Cage. It's another movie where Nic Cage has giant circles under his eyes and is super fucking pale and looks almost dead. So I mean, yeah, it's worth seeing once. I don't know.
That's a good
how
movie.
Rewatchable it is. It's good. It's underrated, I think, but that's it's super depressing. That's why it's underrated. So then he went a little lighter in 2000. Again, 2 movies. He does 2 movies a year. 2000, Gone in 60 Seconds, the remake.
Man, that was huge.
Yeah, with Angelina Jolie. It was divisive because there were like old heads who remember the original one from the 70s, which was kind of a grindhouse, undergroundy kind of movie. Same plot, gang of car thieves and stuff, and then people felt they took it and made it all pumped up and high budgeted in Hollywood, and they did, and that's what it is. But it was fun. It was fun. It was about a gang of car thieves and people were really fucking good at stealing cars, and they have to what is it? They have to steal like 50 cars in one night.
Yeah,
and they're
some
like
crazy goal.
really specific cars, right? They have to get these exact cars and stack them up. And I don't know. I mean, what are you going to say? You had supporting cast Giovanni Ribisi,
Yeah.
Scott Conn, who was in Ocean's movies.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah, Robert Duvall. Really?
Wait.
Who?
Did I say?
I don't think. Yeah. Okay. Wow, I forgot Robert Duvall
is he in
was
it?
in this. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You made
Just
me.
check.
You
He
made
is
me
in
think
this.
I got it
no,
wrong.
No. I just did not remember him being in this.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's been a while, dude. I know this one doesn't come up in the rotation very often. So Timothy Oliphant, really, I did not realize. I guess I didn't know who he was when the last time I saw this. It's been a while.
Oh shit.
The Oliphant. Detective Drycoff. Okay. He was a jerk cop. Awesome.
Dry cough.
Jerk cop.
No, Detective Dry Cough.
Dry cough. Oh my God. It's a Russian dry cough. This was famously the movie that made Angelina Jolie blonde.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
For no reason.
There was another one that did that. What was it?
Was she blonde in the Suicide movie?
Yeah. What was that called?
Winona Ryder. Girl
Interrupted. Yeah, she was blonde in that.
Took my old brain a second to get to Girl Suicide movie.
Girl Suicide. Like as in she interrupted.
Tell me I'm
her
wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
lifespan.
Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah. All right, so then he did The Family Man in 2000. That was his other movie for the year 2000, for the millennium.
Never seen it.
No, it's like a, God, I don't know, like another, I don't even want to say it again, but it's kind of like, it's a Wonderful Life type of thing. He's I think a high-powered investment banker in the beginning, with no family, married to his work. He's kind of a piece of shit. And through some mechanism, he gets to see what his life would be like if he had a wife and kids and such. The Family Man became a family man.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's a holiday movie. Like, it takes place at the holidays. And I know some people, it's a Christmas movie for them. It's kind of it's soft shit.
Kind of like, I don't know,
People like
soft
it.
shit.
It's got a good cast. I mean, it's Taya Leone, Don Cheadle, Jeremy Piven, Saul, your guy that you always bring up, Saul Rubinek.
Saul Rubinek.
Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, man.
Rubinek, yeah. He's in this. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time. I do remember seeing it. And yeah, like, yeah.
Wait, what were you like?
It's like a movie you definitely didn't get embarrassed to watch with your family. 2001 was kind of a soft year for him. He did Captain Corelli's Mandolin.
Oh, that was like a World War II movie.
Was it? I don't remember
Yeah,
that
I
one.
think-
You know this one?
I haven't seen it, but I know that I think it's about him. It's a story of him being stationed as a in World War II, stationed in Italy.
Ah, yes. When a fisherman leaves to fight with the Greek army during World War II, his fiancée falls in love with the local Italian commander. So it's, I guess, Greece. But I don't know. I don't know the mechanics.
I don't know. He got a mandolin. That's all I know.
But apparently Penelope Cruz is playing an Italian lady, maybe, possibly, or a Greek lady. I don't know. She's in it. She's really young. Christian Bale's in this
Oh, word?
as Mandros. I don't know. I don't know this one. I do not know this one. Tom.
I know
Help.
it by name only, man. I've never seen it. I just know that it's a movie he made. People liked it.
You have a mandolin. That's why you know this movie. You have a mandolin.
You know what? I just sold it. I sold it today.
Did you?
Yeah.
On Facebook?
Yeah, man.
On Fache
Yeah.
Book? Oh, man. I remember when you got that thing.
Do you? It's
Yeah.
very sweet.
Yeah. It was annoying. You played it a lot.
It's annoying.
You used to play Tiny Tim at me to piss me off.
Number one.
When you first...
Like, okay, hold
What?
on. Check yourself. That was a fucking ukulele. For
I know,
one.
but it sounded kind of the same.
Mandolin's different. And if I played...
I know.
Yeah, listen, if I played anything for you on the mandolin, like, to piss you off, it was Losing My Religion by R.E.M. Okay?
I kind of remember that,
if
too.
you're going to fucking tell me how annoying I am, at least get it right.
I'm going to make you watch Wind Talkers is what I'm going
Wind
to do.
Talkers, is that next?
Yeah. So I guess he did a serious World War II movie. He had to do a fucking absurd World War II movie. That in 2001, he also did some voice acting as Marley in, I don't know, some version of A Christmas Carol that I've never seen.
Jacob Marley?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
It just says Marley. So the ghost of Marley, I guess. Yeah, he did Wind Talkers in 2002, which is another John Woo movie. Man, I can't even get through the beginning of this one.
I've never seen it.
It's so bad.
Oh, no.
Our buddy Kevin loves to make fun of this. Do you remember that? Him, they used to just rag on this movie so hard. It's just, I don't
ever remember him mentioning it.
It's like if you took, I don't know what you didn't fucking call it, man. It's John Woo making a World War II movie is exactly what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It doesn't sound great.
It's just, I don't know, man. In the era of accuracy when it comes to like World War II movies, this one is just goes the other way. And I mean, it has aspirational goals. It tries to tell the story, a story
of the Navajo.
About, Navajo code talkers in World War II in the Pacific Theater. But it's just nuts. It's just Nic Cage just mowing dudes down with a never-ending magazine in his Tommy gun, and just people getting chopped up and blown to pieces all over the place and flying through the fucking air, and it's just bad jokes and corny shit in between. It's just weird. I don't like it. It upsets me just to watch it. So this is the first one we've come to on this list that I outright just don't like, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Just pretty good.
Considering how big the list is.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in 2002, he made another movie, which a lot of people think was one of his best, Adaptation, as Charlie and Donald Kaufman. It's a really cool, highbrow kind of movie. He plays a screenwriter who tries to adapt a novel for a movie, and like he kind of schisms in his own head, and it's just a really neat character study kind of movie. He really turns on the actor for this one.
This is where I need you to forgive me because I've never seen that adaptation.
No,
yeah, this is.
I really thought that would have been one of the ones you'd seen.
This is one of those ones
sure.
where I tell people I've never seen it, and they're like, "Are you crazy? You got to watch that."
Yeah, it was real popular with a lot of circles when it came out. I mean, what was this? We're in 2002 now. Yeah, when I was in college. Yeah, that sounds right. All my wannabe writer and musician friends
on the
love
list.
this shit. Fucking supporting cast with Meryl Streep, Tilda Swinton, Chris Cooper.
Oh, Chris Cooper's great.
And Stephen Tobolowsky. Hell yeah. Stephen Tobolowsky. You know him, Ned. Needle Nose Ned the Head.
Wait, what?
Fucking Groundhog's Day, man.
Oh, yeah, Ned.
Needle Nose Ned the Head.
Ned the Head.
We have come to 2003. It's an important year. No, it's not. It's a really unimportant year in his career. He made Matchstick Men. It's the only movie he made that year. Matchstick
I never saw that one.
I don't think I have either, man. Ridley Scott directed it, believe it or not. So yet another legendary director that he's worked with.
Yeah, add it to the list.
It's a con man movie. It's got Sam Rockwell in it. I don't know why the fuck I've never seen it. So I guess, add it to the list.
I love Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, man, he's one of my favorites.
He's great.
This is one of those ones I can't even pretend to have seen. Sam Rockwell, the first thing I remember him from was Galaxy Quest, and I love that fucking movie too. That's an epic start to a career. And I think he did some shit before that. But
Yeah.
But the year after that, Nic Cage again became a movie star.
Oh, what is it?
National Treasure, man.
Oh, those are great.
National Treasure. Yeah, I have a soft spot for him, man. Especially the first one, because so much of it's in Philly. And,
Yeah,
like,
that's
I don't
right.
know, like, it's so goofy. It's like very Disney, and it's very like, all right, so we're gonna make like a Tomb Raider kind of story movie out of American history, which is so brief that it's kind of funny, but fuck it, I'm into it. I buy into it every time. I even like the second one with Ed Harris.
They're entertaining.
I like them. I love the first one. It's a blast, you know. And the cast is
John
fun.
Voight.
Yeah, he's a weird fucker, but he's pretty good in these.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean.
Otherwise known as Sean Bean.
Otherwise known as I'm gonna die.
Yeah, the guy that
if I'm in a movie, I'm gonna die.
fucking dies and everything.
I'm gonna fucking die. So yeah, National Treasure. Everyone knows he's a fucking historian, archaeologist, fucking treasure hunter. Finds a hidden treasure under what? I forget. Under a cemetery.
Seek the treasure.
I thought you was a toad. Yay. So after that comes one of my... I love this movie, Lord of War.
Oh, Lord of War is great. I saw that with no expectations and was completely blown away by like what a cool movie that was. That was awesome.
Yeah. It was really cool when it came out, for sure. And he plays a arms dealer who's modeled after a real arms dealer who I think was recently released, right? Wasn't that weird?
Oh, that
prisoner exchange?
Merchant of Death. What you're talking about the exchange between Brittany. Wow, what's her name?
Something with a G.
Grimes.
Basketball player. I don't know. Yeah, that's the
one.
That's
Griner. Brittany Griner.
Okay. Yeah, and the real arms dealer, they call him the Merchant of Death, and the character of Yuri Orlov in Lord of War was loosely based on him. And it's a guy who got into arms dealing in the late 70s, early 80s, and when the Cold War fell apart and the Soviet Union collapsed, he was positioned just right to take advantage of the many, many metric tons of Russian hardware that suddenly hit the market and sell it to every side of multiple wars.
Yeah.
But the movie's great.
Dude.
Movie's great.
Like
great cast.
My favorite part of that movie is he's like he's in front of some like world like leader, some despot leader, and he's got a gun, a revolver. I don't remember what kind of revolver it is, but he's showing this guy this firearm, and the dude like shoots somebody with the gun he's just Nicolas Cage has just presented to him. He kills a man in the room. And Nic Cage just goes like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And you think that he's going to be outraged at the fact that the man he's selling to has just committed murder. He's just like, "That gun's never been fired, and now you just shot it, so now it's used." And he's like,
You can't sell a used gun.
He's immediately trying to negotiate.
They used the gun.
Like
a
lower price for the gun, no matter the fact that he's just killed a man with it.
The way I always took that was that his initial reaction was a genuine one at seeing a dude shoot a dude in front of him, and that he covered with the bit about the gun.
That's possible.
And that actor is Eamon Walker. He's a great actor. He was first thing I ever saw him in was Oz on HBO.
Oh, is he out of BC
series? Yes. No, wait. Not out of BC. He's the The Muslim religious leader guy.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the
I
guy's
forget his name. Yeah, but he plays Andre Baptiste Sr. He's the African warlord guy.
And he's the one that calls him Lord of War.
That's right. That's right. Because he has malapropisms. He's big with the malapropisms, and he says Lord of War instead of Warlord. Yay! Good movie. Great movie.
That's an awesome movie.
Great movie.
And Jared Leto. Jared Leto's got a low-key good role in that. But he makes... where are they from? Ukraine, yeah.
Ukraine, yeah.
Creates
he makes the outline of Ukraine with cocaine. Yeah.
Cocaine, Ukraine.
Like, I start at the Black Sea, and then I make my way north to Kiev.
Jesus.
And oh man, dude, when he starts snorting the gunpowder mixed with the cocaine in Africa, fucking.
That's so grody. He's chasing the hooker around, just going, Sita, Sita.
Yeah. You have AIDS. It's a really dark fucking period. So he was in that same year in 2005, he was in a movie called The Weatherman. I don't remember this one too well, except that he has a
bow and arrow.
Yeah, I remember the posters and like the trailers. And I'm like, I'm never gonna watch that, and I never have. Okay. So fuck it. He did that World Trade Center movie in 2006.
Oh yeah.
I think I saw it once with people. I don't know. That's that Oliver Stone one. So I get it. I wouldn't turn down the chance to work with Oliver Stone either, but it's not Oliver Stone
him to the
best,
list.
I don't think. Yeah, I've seen it. I think I don't know, man. We lived through it. I don't really need to.
You know what?
That's
exactly.
I feel weird about that.
That's exactly why I didn't see that movie. You know, we lived through that moment, and I didn't want to watch a movie about it.
I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that we were still here in the Northeast when that went down.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of on top of us. I don't know.
I actively resisted that one.
I've seen the news coverage so much and wrote about it so much and read about it so much. I just don't need to see movies about it. I've seen them. I saw the United 90, what was it, 95? What was it? I forget already. Yeah. I clearly don't need to see stuff about it. I can't remember shit. I actually remember liking that movie, but again, that was a really long time ago. So whatever. I don't know. Maybe Nic Cage did a good job. He was a firefighter. He was a hero. I'm sure he did fine. Here comes yours, buddy.
What?
It's your time to shine.
Me?
2006, The Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man. Oh,
Nic Cage
God.
in The Wicker Man. This begins what I think is the second era of Nic Cage's career. It's his descent into camp.
This is the third era of.
This is the third era.
Yeah.
This is the end of the blockbuster era.
Yes.
And we're into the weirdness. The Wicker Man is a remake of a 70s movie, right? That was like a cult classic.
It's pretty creepy.
Yeah, I've seen it once. I associate it with like Straw Dogs. It's like the British countryside, right?
Yeah. It's just like middle of nowhere, like hippie commune type thing.
It's like a Midsummer kind of deal.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah. So just the people know this movie because of the bees.
Oh yeah.
Describe the bee scene to me, please. I love how you do it.
It's just
Tell people about the bee scene.
It's just Nic Cage being Nic Cage and like saying a line which is clearly for the benefit of the audience, not the people that he's talking to. And like, you know, there's these like really crazy superstitious women on this island that he's on that like worship nature, and they have like this, they keep bees and they make honey. They're beekeepers. And Nic Cage figures out that they like blame him for some decline in their like honey production, and he comes out with this line. He goes, it's just in his Nic Cage voice. He goes, "You stupid bitch, killing me won't bring back any of your goddamn honey." He like figures out that they're trying to kill him, and like he just says. Prior to that, he punches like 4 women in the face.
It's right.
He's like running through the island, and he just fucking starts blasting people in the jaw. It's crazy, and it culminates with like the most over the top ham-handed death scene ever recorded. When they put that fucking thing on his head, like it's like a and they pour the bees in it, and like
that's the meme. That's when he screams, "Not the bees!"
It's clearly like they added the bees in post, and I wonder if maybe Nic Cage didn't trust that the audience would know what was happening when the bees were added in post. So he starts screaming, he's like, "No, not the bees, not the bees!"
Well, he couldn't see the bees, so he had to emote.
My eyes.
He's method. It's the bees were getting revenge. Then is what happened.
Dave,
it's incredible.
It's fucking fantastic.
It's one of those movies in his career people like to make fun of, and it gets weird after this. Man, he does Ghost Rider in 2007.
Yeah, that was a paycheck.
It was another one of his obsessions. You know, he's obsessed with motorcycles and Ghost Rider. So he wanted to play Johnny Blaze, even though he's like, 20 years too old?
Way too old.
So he did that, and then he made a sequel down the road. And this was before there was an MCU. This was before Iron Man. So this wasn't part of that. Like, this was kind of a flop. Even though they made a sequel, it's very not great. It has its moments, but it's... Yeah. And then he had a really small part in one of the trailers in the Grindhouse movies, the Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez double feature, Grindhouse.
Oh, yeah.
It's really barely worth mentioning. He was in a movie called Next in 2007.
Next.
I remember starting to watch this.
It's a sci-fi movie.
No.
No?
Not that, I don't think so.
Oh, shit.
Sort of. It's maybe, I guess you could call it that. It's Las Vegas. We're back in Las Vegas with Nic Cage. He's a magician, and he can, like, see into the future.
Yeah, but, like, only 3 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. And, like, the FBI is, like, hunting him down because they want to use him because there's, like, a nuclear bomb or something. And he's the only way they can figure. I don't know. Jessica Biel's in it, so I mean, and Nic Cage has some really weird length hair in this. Like it's an odd middle length.
Yeah,
it's like a bob.
it's bizarre.
It's very strange. But Julianne Moore, Jessica Biel, like, okay, I'm not gonna watch it again. I don't remember being able to sit through it the first time. So, and then he follows that up in 2007 with National Treasure 2. Which is National Treasure Book of Secrets. Again, decent sequel to a popular mainstream flick.
Yeah, why not?
Ed Harris is the bad guy instead of Cien Bien. So yeah, cool. Bangkok Dangerous. I have never seen this movie.
Me neither.
But I have made fun of the title a lot. We had some kind of a running joke when we were younger about this fucking movie title. I don't know. I'm sorry, everyone. If you're a big Bangkok Dangerous fan, I got nothing for you because I haven't seen it. Knowing in 2009, weird movie. I watched this one time.
What was Knowing?
When I couldn't sleep. He plays an MIT professor, and he discovers this, like an X-Files kind of mysterious list of numbers in a time capsule that they open, right? And like, I don't remember what it does. It's something. It has something to do with predicting disasters, and it's kind of like a Nostradamus key, and it predicts. They're trying to prevent like a extinction level disaster that's predicted by this number sequence thing that he finds in a time capsule. It's kind of interesting.
Huh.
It's neat. Like it's a neat watch. It's not something I would stop the presses and put on your list, but like I said, stumbling across it one night when you can't sleep, it was totally pleasant. So yeah, it wasn't big budget or anything, not much of a cast. It was fun.
I'll watch that.
Right? So 2009 is a really fucking weird one. Bad Lieutenant,
Okay.
Port of Call, New Orleans.
I've never seen Bad Lieutenant, but like I've had multiple people tell me like, yo, if you're a Nic Cage fan, watch this movie. It's bizarre, but it's entertaining.
Have you ever seen the first Bad Lieutenant?
No.
Just the plain Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel?
Harvey Keitel.
That's a intense movie. They're both about just really corrupt cops. Like just horribly, offensively corrupt cops. This one takes place in like post-Katrina New Orleans.
Ooh.
It's a cool setting. It's not. It's some parts of it are a little hard to watch. It's kind of a brutal movie. It's kind of fun. I'd hold with that. If you're a Nic Cage fan, you'll really like it. And Val Kilmer's in it, like older, fluffy Val Kilmer.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about it. It's just one of those kind of hard-boiled. It's a mean film. It's brute. It's a rough flick. You know,
Rough stuff.
It's fun. Rough stuff, kids. R-rated material. Kick ass. 2010.
Kick ass. Yo.
Yeah.
Like
You like this one?
yeah. The first Kick Ass was pretty good because it was like a complete surprise. You know, my brother-in-law was like, "Yo, you got to watch this movie for two reasons. Like, number one, there's this little girl that I think what's her name, Hit Girl or something. Yeah, and she's like, all right, which one of you cunts is next? And then he mentioned Nic Cage specifically. He goes, Nic Cage is nuts in this movie. You're gonna love it, and I did. So I give him a lot of credit, man. He made a very good suggestion. That movie movie rules.
That was Chloe Grace Moretz. That was like her first breakout role.
Yeah, it sure was.
Right. She was Hit Girl, who was also, her real name was Mindy, and Nic Cage played her dad.
Yep.
And he was like a kind of a semi-Batman-esque
Dude, he was
character.
basically Batman with a mustache.
Yeah, pretty much, and he used guns.
Yeah, he kills a lot of people.
Lots of guns. A lot of guns. Yeah, the movie's got a high body count. Yeah, it was that era of like Marvel started saturating shit. So people were like, let's make more like R-rated comic book movies, and Watchmen came out and this came out, and I guess they waited to make The Boys, but they got there eventually.
That movie's awesome. Kick-Ass is great.
Yeah, it was fun. I watched it a lot when it first came out. I think I played it out for myself. I can't really get into it anymore. But Nic Cage was great. When he's on fire, that's a pretty, that's some kind of performance there.
Oof.
He keeps calling his kid child, which is so fucking weird.
Yep.
Hear me, child. He's a trip, man. He always does something fun, I'll tell you.
My eyes, not the bees.
All right, so you got kids. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Is that something you've been exposed to, or something? It's kind of old now. Right?
I've seen it.
Okay.
That is not a movie I would put on for my kids.
All right, I don't know it. I just thought it was like a kid's
It's a
movie.
little
I don't
bit
know anything
older.
about it.
It's like a young adult movie. I think that was like
YA?
Yeah, YA.
Harry Potter.
Jay Baruchel, I think, is in that.
No, really?
Yeah, he is the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and Nic Cage is the sorcerer.
It all is clear now.
Yeah, man.
It is Dave Baruchel. Who plays Dave? All right.
Jay Baruchel of
Alfred Molina.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Alfred Molina's in that. Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know why I saw that, because that came out like way before I had kids, and I watched it, and I really couldn't say why I watched it, but I did. It was all right. It was okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Season of the Witch.
I've heard of this movie. I've not seen it. I've heard of it. All I know is that like I've heard that Nic Cage does like what appears to be an insane like British accent. Just crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's pretty nuts. I've seen it. It's one of those, I don't know what to call it, like cheap CG fantasy movies, basically. I don't know. It takes place in like the Middle Ages-esque, but it's it has to be in a fantasy world because nothing is really historic. And
this sounds like that period that we kind of mentioned at the beginning, where like this is where he just had to keep working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
He just had to
Like, look
make
at this.
movies to stay afloat.
I'm looking at this list. This is 2011. He makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 5 movies released this year.
Holy
in 2011.
Shit. 5 films.
The first one is Season of the Witch. Then something called Drive Angry, which I've never seen.
I've heard of that. I've
Then
never seen it.
Something called Seeking Justice, which I've never seen. Then something called Trespass, which I've never seen. And then Ghost Rider 2 to finish out the year.
Jeez. He's turning into Eric Roberts at this point.
I mean, if you're going to go by IMDb standards, Drive Angry is a 5.4, Seeking Justice is a 6.1, Trespass 5.3, Ghost Rider 2 4.3. Brutal. Then he opens 2012 with a movie called Stolen, and that's all he did that year. That's all he did that year. Opens 2013 with a movie called The Frozen Ground. I've actually seen this one. He's with Cusack again.
Oh, reunion.
Yeah, it's an Alaska state trooper movie. It's a kind of a Insomnia-esque kind of thing. A lot of the kind of the same looking territory. There's murders. There's like a serial killer. So it's supposedly based on some true story. I don't know too much about it. I remember Cusack, I think, is the bad guy. It's worth again, it's one of those ones if you catch it on whatever, on streaming, and, you know, you're going through it and you see it, like, you're not going to hate yourself for watching it, but it's not very memorable. Vanessa Hudgens, like I said, Cusack, Dean Norris is in it, you know, from Breaking Bad and all kinds of shit. And yeah, that's kind of it. So Nick's kind of in a weird place right now, I guess.
He sure is.
He does some voice acting. He's in The Croods. I don't know much about that.
I've seen the first Croods movie.
And then he did a movie called Joe in 2013, which I have seen. It's a moody little flick, kind of low budget. It's like this ex-con. He's like this ex-con who lives in the woods, and this 15-year-old kid from a shitty home meets him, and he kind of becomes his role model and teaches him some shit about being a man and whatnot. Like kind of what he's learned being a reformed criminal, about being a good person. Ty Sheridan is the kid. So, you know, he got kind of famous after this.
Who's Ty Sheridan?
So, he was, what his big thing was, hold on a second here. I don't want to get it wrong. I know him. He played Cyclops in the later X-Men movies, X-Men
like
Apocalypse.
Days of Future Past.
I think so, yeah, and definitely in Apocalypse.
Yeah, I know
X-Men
you're talking
Apocalypse. He was in that Matthew McConaughey movie, Mud.
Oh, Mud was awesome.
Oh, he's what he is? His big role was Ready Player One. He was the lead in Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy.
He just
that's
likes
the guy.
playing movies where he has to wear goggles.
That's what it is. He's a goggles man.
Goggle boy.
He's a goggle guy. Goggle guy. Goggle guy. Awesome. You know, again, decent. A little better than what he had been doing, but then he follows it up with this fucking movie in 2014 called Rage.
Rage.
Here, I'm going to just read it to you. When the daughter of a reformed criminal is kidnapped, he rounds up his old crew and seeks his own brand of justice. using his particular set of skills. Now, I added that part at the end, but that's even the fucking poster.
It looks like
It's
Taken.
got some Taken vibes. It's got some serious Taken vibes.
Well, yeah, I had this great idea for a movie where like this guy, there's this guy, and he's got like really good like terrorist killing skills, and his daughter is abducted, right? But that was Taken, so I couldn't make it.
I'm sorry.
And I
really
had
sorry.
another great idea where like the same guy, experiences like much the same situation, but that was Taken too.
Yeah. You should write these ideas down when you have
Sorry,
them next time.
That's a bit. I stole that from somewhere. I heard it somewhere.
Such a dick. Stealing material from stand-ups, probably. Huh?
Yeah. I'm admitting it though.
So I guess you're right. I guess Nick needed some cash, man, because he had another surge in 2014 here. After Rage, he had a movie called Outcast, another CG fantasy movie.
Yeah, I heard about that one too. Yeah.
Bad. Left Behind. I don't know what it is, but his character's name is Rayford Steele. Rayford Steele.
That's
A small group of survivors is left behind after millions of people suddenly vanish and the world is plunged into chaos and destruction. So it's like a Rapture movie.
Jesus,
I guess
that's nuts.
Left Behind. Okay, I get it. There's a lot of crosses and shit.
Sounds like The Leftovers.
Yeah, Leah Thompson's in it with him. Holy Christ! Oh my God, Mrs. McFly. Then he's in something called Dying of the Light that same year.
Is that about like Dylan Thomas?
I guess so, dude. Rage. When a devastating illness threatens to end Evan Lake's career in the CIA. I've seen this. This one's actually kind of good.
Okay.
All right, so he's this CIA operative who's kind of, I don't know, he's Nic Cage age. He's old. And he's kind of coming to the end of his career. Yeah, and he finds out he's dying. Right? He's got like Breaking Bad kind of situation here. And he decides with the time he has left, he's going to hunt down this terrorist he's been chasing for years but hasn't been able to nail. And he just goes on this like psycho bender, just burning all his contacts that he has because fuck it, right? And just hunting this fucking guy down. It's pretty cool.
Sounds awesome.
It's actually, yeah, it was surprising. Again, one of those late night, like, fuck it, it's on, I'll give it a shot. And Anton Yelchin was in it, the late Anton Yelchin.
Oh, that's right, that poor young man.
Yeah, fucking shame, man. Fucking shame.
Fucking crushed.
Yeah, by his own car, like in his driveway. It's awful. But this flick was pretty cool.
Light.
Yeah, and I remember they're pretty good together, too. They're pretty, from what I remember. Like I said, I only saw it once, but pleasantly surprising. One of those weird ones that just came across, it was good.
That sounds awesome.
So that ends 2014 for old Nick. We're coming across the era of, you just got to skip a bunch of them, man.
Just rattle them off.
The Runner.
Nope.
Have you ever heard of this? Nope. No, something about the 2010 BP oil spill. I kind of remember this one.
Yeah, nothing.
This was a little high profile, but, what the fuck is that? So much shit happens in the news. I don't remember anymore.
Stupid bitch. Killing me won't bring back any of your goddamn oil.
Then he did a flick called Pay the Ghost.
Nope.
Nope, it was a cheap, kind of a horror movie, but one of those boring ghost ones that doesn't go anywhere. The Trust.
Nope.
His character is just named Stone in that one. just straight up Stone. It's a cop heist investigation movie. Oddly enough, he co-stars with Elijah Wood in it. I think I've actually seen this one.
Of course you have.
I don't remember it though, so I can't even be of any help. But him and Elijah Wood, that's a weird combination. Something called Dog Eat Dog in 2016 here.
I've heard of Dog Eat Dog. Never seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, nothing.
A crew of ex-cons are hired by a Cleveland mafioso to kidnap the baby of a rival mobster. Jesus
Good
Christ,
Lord.
really, guys. Willem Dafoe is in it? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the
What
fuck?
the fuck, Jesse Ventura?
What the fuck?
Greatest close-up in cinema history.
I'm not watching this. And then he was in Snowden, that movie Snowden,
Oh,
in
yep.
2016.
The one about Snowden?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. And then he made USS Indianapolis, Men of Courage. I watched this on purpose once.
Like the story about the one that like Quint from Jaws tells?
Tis the same ship,
Deliver the
sir.
bomb.
Fuck yeah, it's the story of the USS Indianapolis, which delivered, I think, Little Man? Was it Little Man or the other one?
It was an A bomb. I know that much.
It was one of the A bombs that we dropped on Hiroshima or Nagasaki. I don't remember which one it was. Nic Cage and Tom Sizemore are somehow supposedly of age to be sailors in World War II. Thomas Jane is in this. I don't know
Really?
how this happened, but it's not that bad. Like, it's okay. It's kind of okay. Nic Cage plays the ship captain, which is kind of believable, even though he's still too old. But it's not bad for what it is. And the story's naturally pretty traumatic and drama filled, so it doesn't take too much. There is a lot of flopping around on like life raft things and screaming and yelling. You get the feeling a lot that they're like in a pool
Yeah.
and
I
just
mean,
screaming and yelling at nothing. But what are you going to do?
it's unavoidable.
Unavoidable. So that's a high point. Then we've got something, Army of One, I don't know. Arsenal, I don't know. Vengeance, a love story, I don't know. Inconceivable, it is. This is 2017,
Good
and he is
Lord.
putting out. This is still 2017, just cranking him out. He did this weird horror movie, Mom and Dad. I do remember this. I did see this. It was pretty fucking creepy.
Mom and Dad?
Yeah. It's about. I'll just read the synopsis because a teenage girl and her younger brother must survive a wild 24 hours during which a mass hysteria of unknown origin causes parents to turn violent toward their own kids.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird concept, right? It's just Nic Cage being like a crazy suburban dad who goes like murder happy. It's all right. Not super fulfilling because it has third act problems, but it's pretty
Murder
good.
happy Nic Cage.
Yeah. The Humanity Bureau. Anything?
No.
No? Me neither. This is wild, man. He made so many movies.
Made a ton.
And then he finished 2017 with something called Dark.
Dark.
Just Dark. He plays Evan Lake in Dark. Noah Cross, Evan Lake. Jesus Christ. A government agent must track down and kill a terrorist before he loses his full memory from dementia. Wow.
Jeez.
So basically, he's remaking that CIA movie that he just made. Okay.
Yeah, these are nuts.
But he opens 2018
Oh, what is it?
with a movie called Mandy.
Oh, Mandy. Did you see Mandy?
I did. I saw this when Lenny and I went into it totally blind. No idea what it was, and just it blew our fucking minds.
Yo, Mandy.
I love this movie.
Mandy is so gnarly. I had a bit of a warning from a friend. Like, he was like, dude, you gotta see this. And he's trying to describe it to me. And he said something like, it's like a Hellraiser mixed with an acid trip, but it's also like a metal music video. And I was like, what? That can't be a movie.
Yeah.
But that's
Kind of,
pretty
yeah.
on the nose. He nails it.
Like, it has sort of the feeling of one of those experimental 60s movies at times, but not visually, just conceptually. But there are some kind of trippy, old school hippie vibes to it with the cult and the bad guys, right? They're a little Manson-y.
Yeah, and for people who haven't seen it, Nic Cage lives with his girlfriend out in the middle of the woods, and there's this this Charles Manson type character with like a hippy dippy band of followers with him, and they stumble across Mandy, who is Nic Cage's girlfriend or wife or whatever, walking through the woods, and the leader sees her and just says like, I want her, I have to have her, bring her to me. And they do, and then just from there just shit goes crazy. That movie's that movie's bananas.
Absolutely bananas. There's no way to even describe it other than what we've said. It's visually amazing. It's fun to just watch. There is a plot. You can follow it. It's pretty abstract and weird, but it's great. I don't know. I just love it. I love it. It's so fucking weird and just ethereal, and
it has one of the
colors.
Oh, the colors. The colors. Spot the colors. Man. It has one of my favorite Nic Cage lines in it. Just to
crazy evil
to quote it, when he comes home from work and he sees his girlfriend and he goes to tell her a joke. He's like, knock knock, who's there? Eric Estrada. Eric Estrada, who? And he goes, Eric Estrada from Chips. That's the whole joke.
That's the whole joke.
Yeah,
right?
That's the whole joke.
Oh, God.
And then there's
also chainsaw fight.
There's one bit. Yes, there's a chainsaw duel. But there's one bit of acting that Nic Cage does, and it's the part when he first realizes just exactly what's happened, when they take his girlfriend, what they've taken from him, and it's starting.
Is this when he's tied up?
No, when it's starting to sink in, and he's out, he's in the bathroom, he's got a bottle of vodka, and he's wearing like a baseball shirt and some tighty whities. And he starts just chugging vodka, and he starts to vocalize his anguish, and it just comes out as like, ugh.
There's not a lot of dialogue in this movie.
And he just progressively gets louder and like more visceral with just this elevating scream.
It's a nice bit of acting. It's a
good bit of acting. No words necessary.
And this is not the first time he forgoes a lot of dialogue in favor of just like straight acting in a movie. Like, you could call this experimental art house cinema, really.
Oh God,
it's really great.
Wild.
If you're into some non-linear shit, kind of, you should get into it.
Directed by Panos Cosmatos, the son of George Cosmatos.
Yeah, who did a few action movies before passing away kind of early. Or did he? Tombstone, Cobra, Rambo 2, Ghost director? Who knows? But his kid can sure direct a fucking movie. Although he hasn't done much. Like, he's done that and one other movie and like a movie in Italy, and that's it. So, I don't know. All right, so he just does a bunch of these other shitty little movies no one's ever heard of. He made a movie called Primal in 2019. You should stay away from it at all costs.
Oh, jeez.
Because of the CG tigers or lions or whatever the fuck they are. It's just too much to get past. Some voice acting, paying some bills. He did make a movie called Grand Isle in 2019, which is kind of worth a watch. Going on, there's two more movies we have to mention from the last few years. Willy's Wonderland in 2021.
See, I didn't see that one. I remember seeing the poster for it, but I never got a chance to watch it.
You're missing a party.
Is it a good one?
It's so strange, dude. Like, this is a movie I really think your sisters would love.
Really?
Like, I'm kind of surprised they haven't told you about this one. Nic Cage does not speak in this entire film.
Wait, what?
He doesn't say one word. He screams a little bit, and he like, what the fuck? He's a drifter, okay? Who drives this like badass car, and he shows up in this town, and he's tricked, sort of. I think his car gets fucked up, and he's tricked into taking this overnight janitorial job at this place called Willy's Wonderland, which is one of those defunct animatronic pizza places.
Oh, like Chuck E. Cheese? Or
Yeah,
Five
but
Nights
like,
at Freddy's?
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is kind of the same plot as Five Nights at Freddy's, just a few years earlier, and really low budget. So all the animatronic creatures come to life and try to kill you, and he murders them all one by one. And every time he kills one, like, he has to have this special soda that he brings with him, and he changes into a fresh T-shirt because the other one's covered with robot blood. And I don't even know, the supporting cast is so terrible. The actors are all so fucking bad, and it's just Nic Cage being so Nic Cagey. Like, I don't even know, man. You got to see it. It's just
I'll
so
check
weird.
it out.
It's so just watch it for a little while. It's so weird. And then right after that, he made Pig.
Oh, man. Pig is awesome.
Pig is pretty fucking cool, man.
Yo,
Slow burn,
yeah.
good reveal, really good plot.
I went into Pig with no expectations. And, like, I'd seen it, and, like, you hear about it, and you see Nic Cage in that movie, and you hear, like, just for people who are wondering, Nic Cage plays a retired chef who is, like, but, like, not just any chef, just, like, a world-class chef.
Yeah, like, think Anthony Bourdain level,
like Gordon Ramsay,
chef.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's retired, and he lives in the middle of nowhere in, like, what is it, Washington State or Oregon?
He's in Oregon.
He's in Oregon.
Yeah, because when he was a chef, he was in Portland.
Yes, that's right. And he lives alone with his truffle pig, and he that's his thing now. He goes truffle hunting, and he sells his truffles. And one day, some assholes decide to kidnap his truffle pig, and then that's where the movie kicks off. He's going after his pig, and it seems like it's going to be like a revenge story a la Taken.
Yeah, like a John Wick
like
thing.
Taken. It
Yeah.
reminded me of the plot of Taken, and he's going to...
Well, I thought John Wick because the animal and
Right.
all that as the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't go that way.
They make it seem like he's going to go on this like murder fest, but what you get is so fucking different from how it's marketed. And what actually happens is such a refreshing surprise from what you think you're going to get. And it was just like, that movie's wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah. It turns out to be pretty emotional and sad, actually.
It was a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was. And critics liked it too. Like, it was a surprise.
That is just like
And,
a complete reversal for him, for Nic Cage, for what he'd been doing up to that point. You know, I think like Mandy and Pig were the things that kind of pulled him out of just being this like crazy B-movie actor.
Yeah, and then you might be right, because right after that, he made a movie making fun of his career, essentially.
Oh, what's the crazy title?
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where he plays himself,
Nic Cage.
sort of. The character he plays is Nicky, and the full name is Nicholas Kim Coppola. So, yeah, he's definitely making fun of himself. He's going the Jean-Claude Van Damme route in this one. I saw it. It's fun. Again, if you're a Nic Cage fan, you'll like it. Beyond
Is
that...
that the one with Pedro
probably-
Pascal?
Yeah. Yeah, that was 2022. That same year, he made Butcher's Crossing, which is the one I just told you to check out.
Yes.
Because it's on
I haven't watched it yet.
Hulu, I think. Check that out, man. That's a Western about buffalo hunters at the end of the push to the United States effort to exterminate the bison in the Great Plains. And it's a neat, taut little Western thriller. Nothing in it is terribly original, but it's really well acted. There's a cast of 3 that are Nic Cage, 2 other guys who are hunting partners. It's pretty taut and tense, and it has a really good ending. Really serious, and like they really took it to heart, the subject matter, and it's a good Western. It's a really good Western.
Butcher's Crossing.
And then, yeah, Yeah. And then he did another Western right after it called The Old Way,
I
which
heard
was
about
not a
that.
good Western. This was not very good. I I did see it. I didn't like it very much. Maybe I wasn't in the right mood, but it just struck me as a really formulaic kind of Western. Nothing old gunslinger kind of plot, you know? Nothing crazy. And then he did something really crazy and did that Renfield movie in 23.
Oh yeah.
I saw it. It was not what I
Is
expected,
it good?
and not in a good way.
Oh shit.
Nic Cage as Dracula in it was really fun, you know, and you can tell he had a lot of fun with it, but it it's basically like a Marvel movie. There's just a lot of CG fights, and most of them are with what's his name, the dude who plays Beast
Nicholas Holt.
in the X-Men. Yeah, yeah. It's just him kind of hopping around like Beast and just beating the shit out of people. And he plays Renfield, the titular Renfield. And in this movie, every time Renfield eats a bug, he gets like Spider-Man powers almost. Just like super strength and jumping around and throwing dudes and shit. Like, I don't know. It was not what I expected out of that kind of movie. I just didn't like it, man.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's really not much else to mention.
Well,
The rest of it was.
you know, I was waiting for one that never came.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip something?
I don't know. Did you? Did it mention The Color Out of Space?
Color Out of Space. What the hell is that?
Oh man, that was like, I don't know. It might have been a streamer. Like
It's not on his filmography on IMDb.
weird. I definitely.
Oh wait, here it is. Yeah, Color Out of Space. I'm sorry.
What year was
How
that?
the fuck? Oh, this was in our skip over stuff. 2019.
I saw that one. Yo, that movie's gnarly. It's
Really?
yeah, it's like a cosmic horror, like body horror type Lovecraftian movie.
Really?
It's based on a Lovecraft story. I think
Interesting.
I think like The Color Out of Space is like almost word for word like the title of a Lovecraft story, and it's about like a guy in like a remote location with his whole family, and in the movie at least, like he's raising alpaca on like some like large spread of land in like I think New England, and they start experiencing like weird stuff like
Says there's a meteorite.
yeah, like a meteorite comes down, and that they're investigating the site, and there's a guy that lives in a shack not far from them,
Is it Tommy
it's
Chong?
fucking Tommy Chong. Yeah,
I see him in the credits. Oh, that's great.
he's like this crazy wackadoo conspiracy theorist type person, and just the stuff that happens in that movie once like you know the meteor comes down and they start investigating it is. Oh, it's definitely like a body horror movie, but it's
Neat.
It's anchored by a decent performance from Nic Cage, who shows you what it's like to be like a father who's slowly becoming unhinged by this meteor crashing on his property, and like it just starts doing weird shit to people.
Nifty. All right.
It's worth a watch. I liked it, man. But I'll warn you, man. It is gross. It's fucking gross, but it was pretty cool.
All right. You know what? I did lie. There is one more movie worth mentioning in his recent career. In 2023, he also did a movie called Dream Scenario. I think I mentioned this to you when we were talking the other day.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn with it's not something that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat, but it's a weird, interesting thought experiment of a movie. It's about a guy who he's just like this very average college professor at a very average school, and people all over the world start dreaming about him.
Weird.
He just starts showing up in their dreams, like his exact face, and he's usually standing by as something happens, doing nothing. And it's like this slow realization as more and more people in his class in college start realizing they're all having dreams about him. And then it builds and builds from there, and of course gets on the internet, and yeah, it's like I said, a thought experiment kind of flick. It's different. It's very, very different. And he gives a very, very subdued, realistic performance. It's got a 7 on IMDb. People like it.
All right, I'll check that out.
Yeah, that's pretty neat, man. I think it. Let me see here. I don't want to steer you wrong. Yeah, it's on Max.
All right, I can watch that.
Yeah. And then he did. Yeah, that's the last one in his up to date that I've seen.
Man, what a list!
What a hell of a list, man!
Holy cow!
Whew. So after all that, what's your favorite?
To answer your question, my favorite Nicolas Cage movie, and there are a few that I love. Like Pig is wonderful, Mandy's awesome, but I think Raising Arizona. Yeah, it's my favorite. I remember seeing that when I was a kid and thinking like I like this movie, and then I watched it when I was a little older. I'm like, this movie's incredible. It was so good, and he anchors the whole thing. He's
all right. Fair enough.
It's subdued. It's subdued in a way that like he doesn't come across as being over the top, but it's comedic in a way that it's an unforgettable character for him. He plays H.I. McDonough. People call me High. It's just such a weird turn, and I can't really point to anything else like it in his whole filmography. He's great.
All right, fair enough. All right, I'll go. I guess
do it.
If you're saying like the best movie, I think it's a tie between Leaving Las Vegas and Mandy. But my favorite, it's The Rock. It just is. I grew up with it. It's just it's such a fun movie. It's like when I think of Nic Cage, it's the first thing I think of. It's just it's blast, man. I love it. I'll always watch it when it's on.
The Rock's a lot of fun.
So our friends, I took a little poll.
Oh yeah, what'd they say?
Ken said the same thing. He said Leaving Las Vegas, if we're talking the best, and he said if you're talking like most fun or favorite, he said it's like a toss up between The Rock and Face Off.
Face Off.
Dan.
Okay.
He had to go with Con Air, though he also admitted Leaving Las Vegas is his best, and Kevin didn't really have an opinion.
Of course he didn't.
But he basically said Face Off. He hasn't seen too many Nic Cage movies. So informal poll of people our age who are still alive, who we know. Face Off, man.
Face Off.
My wife, Linny, definitely said Mandy. That's her favorite.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. So, my wife, I suggested Mandy. We watched it together. When that movie ended, I think she was genuinely mad at me. She was pissed. Like, why did you make me watch that? She was not a fan. And, like, I get it. That movie's like an acid trip. From
different
start
strokes,
to
baby.
Finish. I get it.
Different strokes.
I loved it, but I completely that's a totally fair opinion on her part, and I accepted any responsibility she wanted to heap on me at that moment.
Thank you, Nic Cage. All right, the faces we grew up with. We grew up with Nic Cage's stupid face. Now we've gone through his whole career, and now we want to talk about him ever again. Thank you, Nic Cage. Thank you.
Thank you, Nic Cage.
Thank you for all your weird fucking shit. You're the best. Good night. Good night, Thomas.
Good night, Dave.